What's up, Hexers? How we doing this fine morning, evening slash afternoon? My camera is in a different position today because the thing that holds it in the back kind of broke low key, high key. I broke it, but I'm kind of fucking with this aesthetic. I don't know. It elongates the room behind me. I like it. I don't know. It's fucking strange. I don't know if I like it only because it is different or if I like it because I actually like it. Now that I'm officially in my 30s, welcome. Am I now an unk? If so, it's time for sweatsuits and New Balance shoes. Don't like you can be young forever. Sweatsuits are kind of chill. New Balance shoes scream giving up on life to me. I don't know. I don't think I own a single pair. You go POV towards us chatters. Hello, my children. Hello, my children. I ordered a thing that's going to keep it up. It should arrive soon, but if we fuck with this angle, we'll continue with this angle. Literally talking down to you. Maybe the bar was raised, so now you guys are sitting under the bar because you didn't get any chairs. Welcome. Today is Kultur Tuesday, and I decided I wanted to talk about video games. Most of chat are gamers. Most of chat like to spend a lot of their time playing games. Video games at this point have become the world's most pricey commodity. It is estimated in the next 3 decades they might even start outpacing the oil industry when it comes to revenue generated. So it is imperative for us to properly introduce class analysis to this particular field of lifestyle. Let's call it that. For a very long time now, we've taken massive F's in chat from the far right when it comes to utilizing gamer identity, when it comes to utilizing one's relationship to this commodity, which kind of created arguably the world's largest subculture. Maybe the only subculture that it is still competing with is, I don't know, football fans. I'm talking about real football, not the one that gets you severe mental disease from playing it. And it might be cringe. It might be annoying. It might sometimes feel like peddling to tier zero, bottomless basement-dwelling nerds to talk about it, but they are no longer tier zero, bottomless, basement-dwelling nerds. They are, to repeat myself, one of the largest subcultures on the planet, and their relationship to this particular commodity is an interesting thing to explore, and especially from the perspective of how we could potentially co-opt it for our own cause. That's from one side. From another side, I like playing games. I like seeing the direction that games are going in, and I think it's a pretty interesting conversation that we can have here, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. I'm rocking the headphones, yeah, and I am. You are looking at me from below because the thing that holds up my cam behind the multiple screens I have in front of me, low key broke and high key I broke. New Noah Samson video. It's a TikTok. I can't react to that. Games from China will change that soon. Fighting against imperialists will rock so hard. You mean I was more talking about not the perspective from. Wasn't that much talking about the narratives crafted in video games, which attempt to give us this very American-centric pro-status quo perspective, but also outside of the narratives of the games themselves, the way the commodity, video games, and people's relationship to games, being a gamer, has been co-opted by far-right talking heads for the last 10 plus years as one of the main radicalizing methods for young adults, especially young male straight adults, right? So it's shooting yourself in the foot, not talking about it, quite literally. You love you. I love you too. May microtransactions burn in eternal flames of Gehenna. That is exactly that's what we're going to talk about. So we're going to start out with a video called "An Entire Generation Just Stopped Buying Games." Everything that I see, even in more progressive analysis of why games suck, look at it from the prism of the consumer, right? The idea that corporations have been okay for as long as they've served consumer interests. Consumer identity overwrites that of class identity, and very often even of cultural identity. What we like to say here on stream very often is, in America, before you are white, black, Asian, straight, gay, cis, or trans, you are first a consumer. And that insane, let's call it bias, has been carrying the analysis of what is destroying games for a very long time now as well. You will see exceptionally well-intentioned people talk about the topic, and kind of the wall that stops their bullet of analysis is usually games bad because they're too greedy. We should go back to a time when they weren't so greedy. Okay. You can see your stash from this angle. Yeah, I want a mustache ride. Jesus Christ, you guys.
At 10 a.m. yesterday.
Cuphead, please stop spamming fucking links, okay? Thank you.
Imagine everybody telling you how useless you are while still demanding that you buy their stuff. You know, 5 years ago they said that $70 was the new normal. Now they're eyeing $80 games. Microtransactions have infested everything. Mobile gaming's gone nuclear. These guys have brought in billions of dollars off the back of our spending and then poured 2 to 3 times as much into absolute garbage. And after all of that, an entire generation just stopped buying games. We're about to watch the games industry bottom out and lose the back end. Years of financial pressure shoved onto players, games being torn apart and sold back to us piece by piece, all to keep their shareholders happy, all about to flip. And it's not because of some new trend or protest. It's because Gen Z isn't buying. And not out of choice. They've just been priced out of the hobby entirely. Locked out of an economy, handed debt instead of jobs, and scam after scam ever since they became adults. You know, every time that I've ever talked about any of these video game industry issues, whether that's spending, pricing, or anything else, it's always been that it's not that these guys can't do any of this stuff. It's just that they're too damn aggressive. They're moving way too fast. They're asking for way too much, and they're outpacing their own customers to the point that they're lapping us. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about why...
And that was literally unavoidable. There was no system or reform or extremely well-intentioned type of video game producers or, I don't know, consumer rights advocates on the side of both video game makers and video game consumers that could have stopped this direction and this particular pathway. Games just need, the second you become a mainstream industry, players enter the conversation that don't actually care about the art form. Quite to the contrary, only care about how they can print out as many of those games as possible on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, on a yearly basis, and make as much and score as much, print as much cash as it allows. So if this applies to absolutely every industry on the planet, obviously it's eventually going to come down to video games as well. But when it comes to commodities like games that we care deeply about and that we kind of give a part of our identity to, there is a sort of cope that develops that it's not going to get to us. And this really, really worked hard on gamers because they would see housing around them get more and more expensive, healthcare get cut more and more groceries become more and more expensive, but at least they had that little simulacra that they can go home to and experience, that world of escapism, which is both fun but also also a means of coping, right? Thinking that this is a different world that exists outside of the market economy and exists outside of all of the real life problems that we might have. Eventually, the market subsumes everything, and it came for games too. The idea that inflation is going to hit absolutely every product, but it's not going to hit one of the most profitable industries on planet Earth, i.e., becoming more expensive, is literally something out of a fairy tale. So it's now, chickens have come to roost, and all these gamers that thought it was more black women in video games that are making games more expensive, or in contrast, making games less made for them. Well, chickens are coming home to roost, and they're being reminded that no, games are less made for quote-unquote hardcore gamers, because games that aren't for hardcore gamers make more money. Games are becoming shittier and shittier and more repetitive, not because there is passion lost on the side of the developers, but because deadlines are larger and larger. There is no culture war out there looming, thinking that they need to destroy video games because somehow they are not progressive enough. No, it was the very corporations that lobby the politicians, which make them think that way, which caused this particular, which is causing the death of their favorite hobby, pastime, and art form. And I wonder if it's going to make more of them wake up, or if the subculture of gamer is going to do pretty much the same thing that most other class consciousness lacking motherfuckers in capitalism do, which is just offload the problem to something other than the material system in which they find themselves in, which, as I said earlier, is what reactionary talking heads like Asmongold and everybody around him have been making a lot of money off of, and have very successfully spread as the mainstream rhetoric. So instead of all of us saying, yo, this thing you really care about is going to get more expensive and shittier because that's what the profit motive does to things, okay? We've lost it to dudes basically screaming about how black woman in game really bad. Thank you, Sean Shack Redemption, you fucking legend. Very nice to see you. I should watch Shawshank Redemption, actually. I haven't watched it in a second. Thank you for the gift subs. Thank you very, very much. There is only so much physical pie. If fixed assets like land and real estate grow, then after some lag, everything blows up in price. Once you hit $10 coffees, your economy is destroyed for 20 years. Beautifully put. Very beautifully put. And it's very interesting how that is a little bit different with digital assets, and yet it is the same. Because like the cost of a game does increase based on the average cost of other products and services inside of an economy, because labor cost is going to increase, electricity cost is going to increase, software cost is going to increase, stuff like that, and so on. But it is extremely limited because it is a digital product. Why do digital products actually end up becoming more expensive? Well, because they are run by very smart executives. By smart, I mean very good at making more money, who realize, okay, everything's getting inflated. What the fuck are we doing? Why don't we raise the price of our digital asset as well? Let's participate in the inflation. And we can kind of slide under the rug, as they say. They will forever blame young women with blue hair and woke. Absolutely. As a white dude A 60-year-old white dude executive that has never fucking held a joystick in their life comes and sweeps games out from under them. I'll be more okay with paying more for games if more money went to the people who actually make games. Absolutely, but I'm pretty sure that even if games became cheaper, but were game production was socialized, actual game developers would make a lot of money. All of the money that is all of the extra money from the increased video game pricing is literally going to stock owners, shareholders. This is when you should be shilling Means Interactive. Why? Banks print the money for policy nobody wants, then the people pay the debt. Absolutely. It is video games are a perfect example on why classic economics does not work from the very simple perspective of if you have an extremely successful market which satisfies the demand to the extent that it requires. Classic economics implies that you will just try to expand the market. So you have really good products, you want to expand the market, you want to have more gamers. What actually is happening in the gaming industry is they want the same amount of gamers to buy more games. And they're printing out games that fucking suck balls because they know, this is the point, because they know that just organically, because gaming has become such a staple of modern culture, more and more people are going to become gamers without them actually having to agitate for more people to become gamers. If the latter was the main thing, that's why in the 2000s, 2010s, people were, even corporate overlords were more willing to invest in development studios that want to make something new, because they were like, okay, we need more different demographics entering the gamer sphere and so on. Now, gaming makes more gamers. It's too big to fail. Gaming is literally too big to fail. So they are now just concentrating on quantity, and even more quantity. Okay, you're telling me Keynes was wrong? Yeah.
Younger players are spending a fraction of what their older counterparts are, and why that number just dropped even further. We're also going to be digging into how this industry has been burning through its audience faster than it can replace them, and why this might be the moment that it all falls apart. You know, I thought we had it bad. These kids are cooked. I feel like I've been sounding the alarms for the better part of a year now, pointing out every crack in the hull before the ship hits the rocks. Hell, Activision is out here channeling their inner Titanic by openly stating that they think Call of Duty is, quote, too big to fail, while apparently completely unaware of the generational iceberg every publisher is about to slam into. Now, before we get too deep into the why, let's start talking about what's actually happening. In an article from PC Gamer written by Stevie Bonifield titled, "New Study Shows Gen Z is spending way less on video games than older gamers. Young people can't even afford gaming anymore." They write, young people are so...
True. But this is very Gen Z focused. Gen Z is no longer young as well. So the older you get, the more shit you need to do. The more shit you need to do, the less time you have for your hobbies. The less time you have for your hobbies, the more picky you are with what you actually buy. Okay, so you used to buy 10 games because why not? It's dad's fucking bank account. Then it became your bank account, which limited to 6 games a month. So you were really, really picky with it. Now you have a job and rent to pay and friends IRL to hang out with. And now you can buy what? Maybe 2 games? Maybe 1 game. So the 1 game or 2 games that you're actually going to be consuming is going to be from something that is either very, very well marketed towards you, or something that you think is really, really good and you cannot miss out on. But what is the industry giving us? The opposite. Quantity over quality. Fucking printing them out like crazy. So So that's why older Zers or younger millennials or whoever the fuck are quite literally refusing to, not refusing to, just don't buy as much. What I'm trying to say is back in the day, when your hobby was your whole identity, you would buy shit on a platter. Now when you have other stuff to worry about and to think about and to spend your time on, you will only buy a gold-plated shit on the platter, because let's be honest, there's very rarely anything that is not shit being served on their beautiful, beautiful platter.
Cash right now that even video games are too expensive for them. A June study by Circana, first reported by the Wall Street Journal, found that spending among 18 to 24-year-olds dropped by 13% from January to April 2025 compared to last year. Video game purchases were hit particularly hard, falling nearly 25%, according to a chart Circana's Matt Piscatella shared on Blue Sky. For context, Piscatella shared another chart comparing the drop in spending among Gen Z to spending changes in older generations. The difference is dramatic. Where older generation spending dropped less than 5%, Gen Z's is plummeting. It's particularly surprising to see such a sharp drop in spending on video games, which historically cater to young people. Now, to reference Matt Piscatella's post directly, video game spend among 16 to 24s is down sharply. Young grads are having a much tougher time finding jobs. Student loan payments are restarting for millions of borrowers. Credit card delinquency rates have risen to their highest points since before the pandemic. Overall, purchasing by 18 to 24s has plummeted, especially when compared to other age groups. Now, that's already bleak, but here's where it gets critical for the games industry. Back in March, a separate study showed that Gen Z and Gen A already make up 28% of all gamers. Millennials just falling right behind them at 26%. The difference
KCD was literal gold. You know that the DLC is coming out soon. I'm so fucking hyped.
between the two of them is that only 18% of millennials reportedly spent nothing on games, while more than double that number of Gen Z gamers spent nothing at all. And when they
oh my God, this is bad. Our owners have confused money creation with the economy. Can't blame them, since it worked great for 40 years. They died richer than kings. Now everything is hollowed out and shitification is almost complete. I'm not sure what comes next. Yeah, beautifully put as always, Polaris. Gaming was fun 20 years ago. Now it's some sort of gambling platforms slashing gameplay to win DLC nightmares. Don't buy the new trash video consoles. Get a Chinese emulator handheld from AliExpress. Dude, like, you remind me so much of younger me. I literally, like, only pirated. I only and exclusively pirated. I did not buy my first video game that I've ever bought was when I was fucking 20 or something. Or 18. No, my dad bought me some games. Now I remember when we got a console for the first time, the PlayStation 3, my dad would buy me games because there was no fucking reason. There was no way to pirate it. But then we emulated the PlayStation and then we played pirated games on it as well. I no longer pirate because I can afford not to, and I want to support the fucking game makers or whatever the fuck consumerist bullshit. But yeah. Movies and shows, though, to this day, like, there's very good websites. You can probably... No, is this TOS? I don't know. Maybe this is TOS. Let's just say that on average per month, there's at least 150 torrent files on my computer. At least. Which DLC isn't the one where you can build houses? Like, I don't know. It's KCD2. There you go. KCD2. They can sell me literal gold-plated shit. I'm gonna fucking eat it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. DLC. Jesus, why everything is spammed up? Legacy of the Forge.
Peggy 18.
Apparently, you can make your own forge and run it like a business or something. It's interesting. I mean, we're definitely maybe playing it on stream.
Honored friends, masters of the blacksmith's guild, let me introduce a young master of our craft and new owner of Gutenberg's old forge, Henry of Scarlets.
Ready? We can begin.
Yeah. We are going to make the whole city of Gutenberg ours. We will buy up every other, what do you call it?
blacksmith.
They say the Blacksmiths Guild is why they exist. They believe that unionizing shall protect them. But me, Henry of Scarlet, shall walk into that city already golded up through my breeches. And because I own more capital than them, those peasants, they do not even know what capital is. I shall slowly put him out of business, for my swords and my crafts shall be cheaper than theirs for months and years on end. And then they shall come begging to be bought out. And of course I shall buy them out and give them back 5% and employ them as my employees with a set salary for years to come. This will not backfire in any way, I am certain. Not backfire for them at all. Oh, and eventually when I own all the blacksmith shops in the city, I will simply call it a single, what could you call it? Corporation. It incorporates all the blacksmithies. And then I will use my money to lobby the local ministers and local lords and ladies to make sure that only I am allowed to craft all things that the city consumes. And a birdie told me that when industrialization, whatever that might mean, comes, I will be first, and I will make trillions on the backs of everybody.
They do spend.
He bought the city council. No!
It's less across the board. Just 35% of.
We'll be the Zara of blacksmiths. We'll hire Slavic kids to do cheaper armors. Wait, I think I can put the camera on this. I just figured it out. Wait, can I do this? Yeah, I think I could literally just put it on the thing. Oh my god, I just blew my own mind. Wait. It's gonna fall. Don't fall. Ah, okay. I used to have a stand. But now I just put it on top of the monitor. Does that work? Because I feel like I'm standing above you, like I'm about to do some weird shit to you, the way I was standing. Does it work? Should work. There we go. Should work. If it falls, don't worry. You will not commit to die. Sorry. That's how you become a burger and you monopolize an entire industry inside of the late feudal era.
Gen Z average more than $10 a month on microtransactions compared to 50% of millennials. And remember, all this data came out before the latest spending drop, which means that right now, younger generations are probably spending less than half of what their older
Dude, you know how the fucking capitalists are going to respond to this? They're going to give out loans. You will have digital gaming loans that probably already exists. Don't tell me it exists. You're a broke young Gen Zer, but you really want to get those skins or those microtransactions. And then there's a digital bank that will fund your digital purchases for a low rate of 9% or something. Just credit. Yeah. Thank you, a.k.a. Lorenzo. Thank you very much. Yeah, people probably just use their credit cards. Thank you, Lorenzo, for the 4-month streak, my friend. It's very nice to have you. I've never ever purchased a microtransaction. I don't even have my credit card in my Play Store. I do not have a credit card. You know this? I have a debit card, of course. I do not have a credit card. But I'll probably need to get one as every economy Americanizes. And you need a fucking credit card for everything. When it becomes actually really smart to buy something through debt.
counterparts do. Now we add this to the fact that older
Please, my lords, pay a couple of groschen for me DLC. RR.
generations are aging out of the hobby, playing less, sticking to older games that were aimed at them, spending less money, and you have a spending collapse that is going to pull the rug right out from underneath the industry. And I do not see this getting better because nothing about the conditions for younger generations is going to improve anytime soon. I mean, I know it's practically a generational tradition now for each one to call the next one the problem, too lazy, too soft, unmotivated, doing something that the older crowd doesn't like. I'm a millennial. I heard it all. We lack work ethic. We were technology obsessed. We didn't respect authority. We weren't loyal to our employers. We were entitled, narcissistic, which I always found hilarious considering that those traits supposedly would be coming from the people that raised and educated us. It's basically just them criticizing their own work, but at least we could escape it. We had the internet at the time, which still felt like our own. Gen Z doesn't. They live under a constant torrent of criticism for things entirely outside of their control.
Take bets, take odds. Which one of these guys lives at home right now at age?
I think most men with even an ounce of testosterone would find this a touch demeaning.
We have to bring back shame in this country, Josh. We do. Like, it's crazy to me. Like, you would have to waterboard me like Khalid Sheikh Mohammed to get me to admit that I'm a stay-at-home son.
But I'll tell you this, leave it to Gen Z to rebrand laziness and social awkwardness as something cutesy, like a stay-at-home son. But there are a lot of young men out there who want to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. And therein lies a big part of the problem.
Nobody wants to live in mama's basement and order DoorDash. The problem lies in them having no other fucking choice. You fucking plastic-looking demon.
I'm going to crash out. They need to put me on the news. How can you blame them? We've seen nothing but headlines of companies switching to AI and automation. Microsoft just laid off 9,000 people at Xbox to build AI infrastructure. Fast food.
They just want to be goddamn lazy and play video games all the fucking time. Well, then pay them a livable wage. What the fuck are you talking about?
Joints are running with skeleton crews and robots. Kids are graduating from college to find their entry-level jobs don't even exist anymore or somehow now require 5 years of experience.
I built my kid an amazing basement apartment for uni. All her friends are jealous. That's sick as fuck. And you're lucky that she studies in the same place where you live, but that's sick as hell. I have a real job and a right-wing news contributor. What do you contribute to society?
Their degree.
I don't know. Maybe recycling, because a lot of the plastic, instead of going into the seas, goes into her face.
Which was told to them was their one ticket in life is now useless. They are saddled with debt. They're being spawn camped by college costs, DoorDash, and buy now, pay later scams because they can't afford to buy anything outright. They've been scalped, Dropbox, pulled into pyramid schemes, conned into gambling on crypto, and spammed with sports ads at every given turn. They're careening towards a future with no real hope or relief, and the best thing that society can give them is a mix of finger.
They are millennials on steroids, okay? Everything that was promised but taken away from young millennials. It took us like decades upon decades, I guess, to realize. So there was a period of stable relative economic growth with borderline zero rebellion because millennials did not realize just how much shit they've been served, while Zoomers are entering this conversation like straight ahead, matey. Like from day zero, the fucking a Gen Z child or now a Gen Alpha child exits a fucking pussy and they're given a loan, they're given a fucking credit card, and they're thrown out on the street to start their first day of work. It's there's very little left to there's very little goodwill left to convince young Zoomers and now Gen Alphas that everything is going to be okay if you just do everything right the way your parents did. Because very often, even their parents are broke. Like, what the fuck? They're already living with their parents' roommates and their kids in a fucking 2-room apartment in some shitty fucking neighborhood. Like, it used to be, the fucking millennials looked at their fucking boomer parents and were like, maybe I can get this fucking house if I follow through on their suggestions. Like, they were like, why should I listen to mom? Maybe because mom has a house and I want a house too. But now mom and dad are fucking grinding OnlyFans and streams and begging on the fucking streets. Got fucking, 25 GoFundMes and are renting together with 7 other roommates and their children.
So why the fuck should they listen to their parents? Why the fuck should they be propagandized into thinking that there's a future in following the pathway that their parents followed? But the unfortunate thing is that the market already satisfies that sort of confusion. The market already satisfies that that doomer pill that they are granted from birth. And that's, you can make money from NFT, you can make money through crypto, you can make money by gambling on events, you can make money through gambling. You can be a millionaire tomorrow, trust me. Don't listen to your parents. Look how fucking broke they are. Listen to me, online guy with course for $7,000. So yeah, and then we wonder why they don't have money for games.
Waving Karens and some pull yourself up by your bootstrap Andes that are lecturing them for
the irony is they make nothing, absolutely.
not wanting to swim in the pool that they just pissed in. These are the dipshits that are running the world right now, and it's fucking embarrassing. I feel for you younger generations because they pulled the exact same shit on us. Back in the early to mid-2000s, they camped us in high school, shoved us towards college, funneling kids into for-profit schools with unaccredited degrees, jacked up tuitions and fake job placement stats, all to manufacture hundreds of billions of dollars in debt. And then when it was all exposed as a scam, well, we were still labeled as the entitled ones in the workforce. It is wild to me that this is still the message that older generations want to push. Shame younger workers, demotivate them further instead of actually doing something useful. Things like bringing back vocational training, teaching real financial literacy in high school, or telling young men that they can make serious money as operators, electricians, pipe fitters.
There you go. This is where it gets libbed up. This is where it becomes absolutely fucking idiotic. He believes that there can be some smart politician or administrator or whatever that can come in and then change the trajectory of the economy and make sure that young people are not making wrong decisions, which they are making because of lack of information. You stupid fucking cretin. That is why they're making bad decisions, because somebody wants them to make bad decisions, because there's no more space for good jobs. There's no more good jobs, and there's going to be less and less of them. You're gonna be more broke. Get fucking used to it, okay? Jesus Christ. What lack of political education does to a motherfucker.
Boilermakers, or in a dozen other...
You cannot make a good decision, absolutely. Everything is fucking changing 700 kilometers per hour in front of our eyes on a daily fucking basis.
Trades where they can meet coworkers that will become like...
Financial literacy doesn't do jack shit if the numbers aren't in your favor. It only makes you more aware of how fucked you are, absolutely. Yes, the only plus of being financially fucked but also being financially literate is there's a chance that you can become class conscious to an extent.
Family, easing both their financial and their social burdens. But no, keeping them financially disadvantaged is a lot more profitable for these guys. That's why I don't see...
Yeah, there you go. It's a lot more profitable for these guys. Thank you. But like, who are the guys? What do they represent? Why are the guys doing what they're doing? That's why the title of the video of the stream is Libs Get Capitalism and Gaming and Shitification Wrong. They get it right for 90% of the fucking crux, the meat of the whole thing, and then it goes womp, 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 womp.
Things improving, not for younger generations and definitely not for the games industry.
What's up, lesbian hot sauce? I do feel quite overwhelmed from how much stuff is changing and how impending techno-fascism being total is. Yeah, you should. Everyone should feel overwhelmed. That's the point. That's what makes you break. That's what makes you radicalize. Here we got free education, all vocational schools, and people are so fucked. You guys are lucky you have all this technology. Classic boomer saying.
If you can't afford rent, you're not dropping $70 on a new game release or $20 on a Fortnite skin. You're thinking about the next meal. You're playing games for free if you even have time to play, or you're just finding cheaper hobbies altogether. So my question is, where's the relief supposed to come from an industry that's already outpricing its current user base when the next wave of customers can't even afford to walk in the door?
That's the caveat with gaming specifically, is usually people say, okay, when people are getting more and more broke, the stuff they don't spend money on are certain types of luxuries. And then after that, it's amenities they can live without. And then after that, you're broke and you're struggling and you're barely surviving. One would think that the games
games represent the category of luxuries or, quote unquote things you can do without. But this is where the whole subculture of being a gamer comes into play. It has this particular commodity has defined itself in the minds of hundreds of thousands, if not hundreds of millions of thousands of young men and women all around the world as 51% of who they actually are. So no matter how broke they are, and you've seen this with thousands of people, probably you have a bunch of friends like this. I have one in particular that is doing horribly financially, yet keeps going back to Steam, keeps buying more games, and keeps entering the beautifully crafted artistic escapism, which is gaming. What am I trying to say? I do not think that as we get broker and broker, it is going to directly impact the amount of games bought, the amount of microtransactions purchased, and the amount of what some would call bad financial decisions made. Because to a lot of us, gaming does not feel like a luxury. It does not feel like something that we can do without. It feels like a very real part of who we are. It's like water. Motherfucker's gonna be buying water. Just in this case, it's digital water. People are playing fewer games. Okay, let's make the games free and turn it into a Skinner box to get a minority of users addicted so we can take all the addicts' money. I used to hold a belief in more people in trades helping the younger generation get jobs. However, I'm in a trade and I've stopped telling people to get into it since we are still fucked over all the time. Absolutely. Sure, there is something very nice in trying to motivate somebody to enter a particular field that they might not have heard of, that you believe they would be passionate about, and you believe that they could be making a lot of money in. Fine, great, that's very, very good. But you don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. You don't know what's going to happen in 20 years. Remember what they said about fucking programmers? Now fucking programmers are leaking money like faucets. Right? You hear about the new Corbyn party in the UK? Yeah, it's interesting. It's somewhere for me to channel my political anxieties into and ensure its peak socialisms and as little sot-stem shit as it feasibly can in electoralism. It's like all the UK has against fascists who are talking about using gunboats to stop refugees by shooting them. Yeah, I'm optimistic. Let's see how they do. That's what I want to see first. And then depending on how they do, if they don't do well, then wasted. If they do well, that's going to show where their principles truly lie. Marx defined the means of subsistence not just in terms of what you needed to just continue existing, but what was socially considered as an acceptable standard of living. Under our present material conditions, having some sort of entertainment, of which gaming is a major form, is very much universally considered in most countries under most circumstances something all humans should have access to as their basic standard of living. Therefore, games are the means of subsistence. I absolutely agree. And I don't have to agree, and you don't have to agree, but a lot of people have internalized this very notion. Games are sustenance to them. Okay? Games are what is socially considered an acceptable standard of living, access to games. Therefore, companies will be milking them even when they don't have any scraps of bread left.
Prices are already north of $500. Games are being pushed at $80. Microtransaction bundles are just about the exact same price.
So if you want to support pro working class gamer rhetoric, support the show for $6 a month or free through Prime. It might be expensive now, but me and other people like me being able to do this and pushing pro working class solidarity with the gamer class is in the long term going to make your games cheaper. So invest now. Keep your games cheap and affordable.
Price.
But yeah, the main premise, unironically, give me your money. Please subscribe. But jokes aside, it's a serious analysis that came from me and from 999, and it is important to note that very distinction. Because a lot of people in their analysis think that people are going to get more and more broke in late-stage capitalism. Gaming companies are going to realize that, and are going to realize that people can no longer afford to play games as much as they did before. So they're going to eventually lower prices in order to offset the lower standards of living amongst the wider populace. This is not going to work because that is not the relationship that people have to games. It is not a gold chain, okay? It is not Louis Vuitton boots. Gaming has entrenched itself as a way of life.
Here we saw almost 19,000 games released and nearly...
Have you checked vPlace? It has developed since you were there. I check it from time to time. It looks sick as fuck, guys. It's almost finished. We got the most beautiful couple of Santa Clauses that has ever existed. Whoever did this was a fucking legend, okay? This was probably so difficult to do. This is my favorite design from Deprogram merch. This is the most unhinged design ever done. We got a beautiful flag being developed here. We got the three boys, one of the classics. Oh, these three flags are so cute. And oh my God, why is Bob the Builder with an AK-47? Oh my God, that goes harder than I am right now. We got a unified Yugoslavia here. Fuck yeah, Yugos in chat. Let's go. Better a pig than a fascist and a burning U.S. flag. Oh, you finished my beautiful JT. Oh, he's so handsome. Hugo chat. Damn. Very nice, guys. You guys are fucking legit. And of course, chat's favorite emote. Chat's favorite emote by far. Sick as hell. This must be such a confusing place for Chattanooga people that like regularly tune in to Chattanooga stuff. Just see this corner of random references. And of course we have Cat Book here, and then probably Balls tagging himself on top of the Cat Book. Somebody just like exploring their city, and then there's these random references and fucking communist symbology here. Must confuse the shit out of these people. You can do Podgorica as well. Podgorica would be even more weirded out. Let me see what... I think if my head is still well and alive in Podgorica. Wait, let me see. Or did they get rid of my head? Oh no, my head is still here. And it's got the whole thing. I love femboys. Hell no. Fuck yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no. Pretty cool shit. Oh, who the fuck is developing a Lenin back here? Damn. If you want, we can colonize Podgorica as well. It will be funny. Oh, this is Podgorica. If you wanna, wait, why doesn't it let me share? If you want to colonize another city, because I think we already colonized the shit out of Chattanooga. I do not live in Montenegro. I can tell you immediately. For a random reason, we're just doing it to Podgorica because it's funny. This is a country of 400,000 people. How many people can they have on vPlace? Okay, I think that they cannot resist us, even if they tried. And it's because they're lazy, yes. Montenegro people are very, very lazy. They're very lazy people. And I can say it. Thinking Sofia, we should turn the giant Bulgarian flag back into the Soviet flag. That would get us into a lot of trouble, I feel like. But did you guys preserve the only communist symbol over with the Bulgarians? Let me see it. Is it still alive, or did they get rid of it? I'm pretty sure the Bulgarians are politically very unhinged. They probably got rid of it. Where the fuck was it? It was a tiny one somewhere. Fuck, where was it? Yeah, the fact I can't see it means they probably got rid of it. Yeah, it was probably here. I think it was here or something. Ah, it's here. Ah, yeah. They got rid of it again. Well, if you really wanna have some fun.
A new child soldier.
What's up, Pluto? I haven't seen you in a very, very long time, my friend. Very nice to see you. And I do believe that Pluto is still a planet. This is the spot. If you really I would be very proud if you hammer and sickle the shit out of this, because there's so many reactionaries on this particular map, so fucking many. Why did they just black out a whole area? That is very cringe. Anyways, let's continue. Thank you, Pluto.
150 of them were
probably today. We're gonna drop to 1,000 subscribers because last month this time we did really well.
AAA and AA. Split that in half.
The Void. Confirmed. The Void is in Bulgaria. Do not go to Bulgaria, for the Void is in Bulgaria. You know that that's very funny. I actually really like a lot of Bulgarians, and I really like Bulgaria as well. But where am I? Bulgaria. This is one of the...
Where am I?
You don't know where you are?
No. Wonderful. A new child.
You're in Bulgaria.
No.
Bulgaria. A discovery to share.
This is not edited. This was just in the movie. And obviously she is crying because she got kidnapped and taken there. But holy fuck. Pizza famine! Thank you for the 5 gift toys, my friend. You fucking legend. Your Oilers carry this fucking show. For now. Thank you very much, my friend. But yeah. Oh, no.
No.
This is what happens when you're coming out of a Bulgarian person and you're being born and you start hearing the doctors speak Bulgarian.
Where am I?
You don't know where you are?
No.
You're in Bulgaria.
No.
Bulgaria. A discovery to share.
Average it out to $30 million for AA and $150 million for AAA, and you're looking at $13.5 billion invested in games, and likely even more this year. The spending is insane, the demands are insane, and instead of pumping the brakes, they're just flooring it right into the wall. I mean, beyond that, whether you have the money or not doesn't really matter because it's just not worth it anymore. The quality has dropped so far that when people can't afford games, there's less of a reason to bother. Publishers have convinced themselves that going wide, making every game for everyone, stuffing in every mechanic, every identity, and every message somehow is going to make their games more appealing, when all it's done is just made their games boring, bland, and forgettable. The reason that they're...
Wait, what? What?
Get right into the wall. I mean, beyond that, whether you have the money or not doesn't really matter because it's just not worth it anymore. The quality has dropped so far that when people can't afford games, there's less of a reason to bother. Publishers have convinced...
Yeah, because games suck now because they're printing out more of them and because it's quantity over quality and because they want narratives that are as widely acceptable as possible because they believe that is going to attract a wide an audience that is as wide as possible in order to make as much bang for the buck. And corporate executive overreach trumps the power that writers and producers have over their own production.
Convince themselves that going wide, making every game for everyone, stuffing in every mechanic, every identity, and every message somehow is going to make their games more appealing. When
why the fuck every identity? What the fuck does every identity have to do with it? Adding every identity is somehow making the games more watered down. Jesus fucking Christ.
all it's done is just made their...
Yo, please never change your mic and does set up the bass boom it does when you put something down is free SFX. Really? Cheers. Let's hear the sound that vodka makes. Is that free SFX?
Games boring, bland, and forgettable. The reason that their games aren't selling right now is simple. It's because they suck and they're overpriced. Why would I pay $70 for...
But why do they suck? Why are they so bland? Because they became a commodity. Because more and more people went into game production that do not care about gaming. Why? Because there was money to be made. Games take art and they turn them into commodities. And when they become commodities, they become watered down, whitewashed shadows of their former self. So if you want gaming to remain edgy and to remain a beautiful piece of art that does social commentary while allowing you incredible interactive feats, then maybe consider not supporting the system that is going to do that to games and to any other new medium which might arise. Everything enshittifies because you make more money by enshittifying it. And that's what to a very large extent this thing misses. Games are making more money than they ever have while being shittier and shittier. It's not a pun intended. Game you can win against publishers. You can score a win or two here and there the way you can when you riot in the streets with one publisher or two, or by protesting one game or another. But as long as you're treating games from the perspective of consumer identity and not class identity, you're eventually going to get cucked. I had a dream that I was a Twitch streamer and I was doing impersonations of other Twitch streamers, and an impersonation of Ugopnik was just banging the mic. Yeah, because I bang it with bars, bro.
For Assassin's Creed Shadows when I could go pay $40 and play Black Flag? Why would I play Starfield when I could fire up Fallout 3 with mods and make it look current gen? For veteran players, there is less reason than ever to buy. For younger players, it's financially impossible. And that's the exact reason why these companies are so against things like stop killing games or digital ownership, because they don't want us sticking to the games that we already have. They want to force us.
They don't really care. Sure, all of those campaigns will... if they win, cost them 0.000000000000000000001% of their future profit. And do they care about 0.000000000000001% of their future profit? Of course they do. They want to milk absolutely every cent that they can. But the way you guys are going at this, the greater liberal or conservative gamer union, is something that political organizers in almost every other category and almost every quote-unquote industry have faced for the last fucking 2 centuries. And that's trying to out-reform an enemy that has absolutely everything going for them. So even your greatest victories at reform, for example, hey, they will not be able to take away the servers, or the game will always run for me even though it's a digital copy, or any of the other shit, right? Even if all of that is successful, you have won a mouse battle while World War II wages outside of the house where the two mice fought in the fucking wall.
Into the next thing, whether it's worth it or not. But here's the problem with that strategy, especially given the financial conditions that a lot of people.
They worry about exponents and profit now, making enough or even double or triple simply not enough for them. Absolutely. They're looking for every deviation to fully automated luxury straight capitalism.
People are in right now. When people feel pushed, they push back. So if you're going to price your customers out of the hobby, if you're going to make the games that they own inaccessible, well, they're just going to find another way like they always have, whether that's buying used, whether that's emulating, whether that's just pirating these games. And I don't think that's a genie that you can try to put back in the bottle. You can clap down on it as much as you want, but these folks will find a way to crack these games eventually, especially when they're motivated enough. And a lot of people are going to get very motivated very soon. And this is a grave that you dug for yourself. In a lot of cases, you're still digging. No wonder these guys want us to get rid of our digital privacy. Wonder why. Never solutions, only stopgaps to protect themselves. That's all these guys have ever used, while also at the exact same time jacking up prices on their customers and putting so much pressure on them. And things are spinning so wildly out of control that this is one of the few times that I actually don't see a clear picture for what they could do in the future to be able to protect themselves or save themselves outside of cutting their budgets insanely and also slashing the prices of their games. But we know that that's not going to happen or happen fast enough. And I'm sure a lot of these guys are probably thinking to themselves, AI is the answer. But the issue there is you're cutting the rope at both ends. People need jobs to be able to buy things. So if there's less people, you're cutting the rope at both ends. People need jobs to be able to buy things. So if there's less people with jobs, there's less people buying products. And on top of that, we know that the savings that they're going to get from switching to AI is not going to be passed down to the customer. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen when they switched from physical to digital, so why would it happen now? If you're in your 20s or younger and you're watching this channel, first I'd like to say, great taste. But beyond that, I try to do my best to be able to promote the trades as much as I possibly can because it helped me when I was in the lowest point of my life. I didn't think I had a future. I didn't think I had anywhere to go. And then I found my way into the construction industry and it...
Okay, there you go. And then, great, like... I'm happy. He's good. He's good. He's still just like, okay, I gotta think practical. So I'm like, guys, do trades, save yourself from poverty. It kind of worked for me. Do the thing, short-term solution type vibes, but I really fuck with it. Crazy amount of fertile ground in this man's soul and brain. We should try and exploit that.
It gave me the ability to chase a dream like this later on down the road. And I cannot recommend the trades enough. It's some of the greatest people that you can work with. It's incredibly difficult to break into. I'll give it that. There's a lot of nepotism. You got to know somebody in a lot of cases. Unless you're from like smaller cities and areas, usually those places are, looking for folks. Literally every hall that I had ever worked with was desperate for young folk. Because in most cases, they had guys that were in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, and that's all they ever had, and they just had nobody else that was younger, and they need guys to be able to carry stuff. It's good money. It's honest money.
Absolutely. It's very honest money. It's fucking great. Just eventually that's... they'll get rid of that too, bro. They'll get rid of that too.
Money. And a lot of people over the course of time have tried to vilify it as much as they possibly can. And I'm going to be honest with
people like this, always teetering on the edge and need just a little push. This man is right there. He is right there. He's just his last speck of hope is, for example, unionized, labor. His last hope. Jesus, we're losing subs like crazy, bruh. Like fucking crazy. This bun's fucking bad.
It's because they're trying to keep you
It's okay. We'll survive.
Financially down. That's what it is. This is going to move fast. Very fast. Millennials, while being better off than Gen Z, they're not that much better off. And they're not so much better off that they can support the entire industry as we know it today with its current costs and how much it's monetized. It's just not going to happen. And the funny thing is, the more I think about it now, when I look at a lot of the games that have failed over the last couple of months or last couple of years now, any of the games that weren't aimed at us, millennials, failed badly in a lot of cases. And the reason why is because they never had another generation to be able to catch them. So if they were aiming for somebody else, they just straight up missed because those guys didn't have the money to be able to buy the games. These guys.
Thank you very much, Gigi, for continuing. I love when people continue. Thank you, 999, for the 5. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you very, very much.
Guys are screwed.
Thank you very, very much.
These games take too long to make. They're too expensive to make. And while these guys are flailing around trying to figure everything out, indie's just going to come in and steal the scene. In fact, they already have. Now, I want to make this clear. Younger generations not buying games is not a passing trend. This is an industry-wide survival issue, at least for the modern games industry as we know it, because Gen Z is just the start. The generations that are behind them are going to have even fewer job prospects if things keep going this way.
Yeah, there you go. Good analysis.
That means that when millennials are no longer the industry's core spenders, there won't be a replacement audience with the same buying power. And I think some publishers know this, or most publishers probably do, especially since they're the ones that are also contributing to those jobs disappearing. But given their size, the cost of their games, and the way that they operate, it's almost impossible for...
There's a very real possibility it just switches to a subscription model. They Netflixify video games. I know they're already trying. I know everything you're going to say. I know that it's not working. I know that, quote unquote, don't buy a game, rent a game, stream it to your platform is not working really well right now. But it's not working really well right now because the tech isn't there yet. Like streaming a game to your platform in order to play it is just laggy as shit and it looks like shit. And you have to have the best internet on the planet. But in the future, as it gets better, they might turn it into a subscription model. Basically, what every large capitalist does once a lot of contradictions start hitting his particular commodity. Like, think about housing. A very big contradiction hit people that were building and building and building. What was that contradiction? Motherfuckers can't afford to buy my house. So what did they start doing? They started being like, okay, even better. They can't afford shit. Let me rent shit out to them. They're going to rent for their whole fucking life. I will have 7 generations of this family renting to 7 generations of my family. Just move to the renter model, right? And buying became when it comes to housing, the ultimate luxury that one could hope to one day afford. This can be applied to games as well. And 700 other different financial methods of, selling the same thing, but a shittier version of it to a larger mass audience on repeat as a means to offload their lower life standard, but not offload the amount of capital you generate. So many different options that the capitalists are going to think of. They have everything in their hands. Thank you very kindly, McGinn, for the 170 bits. It is very kind of you. Remember when new games used to be 30, now used games are 40. Absolutely. Big hurdle is the infrastructure. That's not there yet. Absolutely. The broadband is too damn obsolete in Western countries. Absolutely. That doesn't mean they won't work at it when they realize that maybe at some point motherfuckers are going to stop buying games. But what 999 said earlier really wisely, and what I'm repeating again, I don't think that gaming is ever going to be. I don't think gaming is a commodity that fluctuates massively depending on inflation, depending on economic crises, depending on even depression. Economic depression. Motherfuckers are going to be buying games even if the only thing they have in their fridge is bread. Half a bread. Moldy half a bread that they used as a fleshlight. Okay? Motherfuckers still going to buy a fucking video game. That's what makes it such an impressive fucking commodity. It's not inelastic. Sorry, I started business fucking 700 years ago. What was it? Elastic versus inelastic demand. Elastic demand signifies high price sensitivity, where quantity demanded changes significantly with price shift.
whereas inelastic demand indicates low price sensitivity, where quantity demanded changes little even with a substantial price change. Gaming is inelastic as fuck. And not only inelastic in its relationship to price, but inelastic in its relationship to the state of the economy, bro.
For them to avoid a crash. I mean, the answers that these guys came to were live services and subscription platforms like Game Pass, Ubisoft Plus, PlayStation Plus, and more. On paper, the reasoning seems relatively solid. Make free-to-play games and offer subscription services to be able to lower the barrier of entry, but the costs of running these services do not line up with the content or the monetization that they're delivering, and I think the result of this is going to be pretty predictable. Games and services that are aggressively monetized, overpriced, and have underwhelming offerings that struggle to be able to keep.
What the fuck is happening to my AC, bro? My AC going crazy. Did you hear the peeps? Oh yeah, please tell me I need to buy a new AC. Yeah, that would be fucking great.
Wonderful, a new child soldier, subscriber.
Sorry about the AC, I wasn't blowing hard enough, I'll do better. Thank you, Jokile, hvala ti, brate moj. Dobar si. Ono je stvarno, neće da mi radi, jebote. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We're back, chat. We're back and alive. I tortured this AC, by the way. I wouldn't even be surprised if it ends up betraying me. I do the thing, when you have the when you have these things. So for the Yanks, this is what our ACs actually look like, right? So this thing moves up and down. You see this thing? This thing, it moves up and down. What I do is I limit it so it stops moving up and down, and then I hit it so that it's basically closed, which makes it very difficult for it to regulate what the actual in-room temperature is. But if I don't do that, then you see, see, that's where it is. That's where it is. It's going to blow right into me, right? So it doesn't blow right into me. It blows basically into the big light over here. Oh, I have a good idea for a monthly subscription goal at some point. Give you an apartment tour. I can't believe I never gave you the apartment tour. I just remembered. This is the first time you see the AC. so many months in. You're a bougie one? What, having an AC is bougie now? Jesus Christ, capitalism is fucking destroying us.
People engaged. With live service games, moderate success is not going to be enough in the future, and relying on them alone is only going to cause more issues down the line. I mean, right now, the entire model is to make the game for free and then to charge heavily for everything inside it. Cosmetics, weapons, playtime in some cases, $20 to $30, sometimes even over $100. And as costs start to rise and profit margins start to tighten, those prices are going to get pushed even higher to squeeze their players harder, and the more games...
Also, we're not going to get good single-player games anymore.
That start to...
That's the thing I'm really scared of. There's so little financial incentive to these fucking capitalist ghouls to make good 10-hour single-player experiences. I just want to run around, shoot like a couple of zombies, create a bond with a girl where I feel like I'm the father, even though she's a bunch of fucking pixels. And in the next game, I want to be her and realize that my father figure is actually quite a complicated man after he gets murdered. And I follow through on finding the people that harmed him and blowing their fucking brains out and killing their unborn babies. That is the type of games that I really enjoy. You know what game I'm referring to. But there's borderline zero incentive, except if, they are going to be exclusive games that make one console over the other more quote-unquote prestigious because they have the exclusive single-player experience of, for example, a Naughty Dog game, right?
So a subscription goal gets us a tour of the apartment. Is there a bit goal that can get us a tour of the fridge? That's a good idea by any means necessary. I should set up 2 goals or something. I'm not sure if I can track bit goals, though. I don't know if there's a system for it, but I will check it out. Honestly, single-player games are the only thing I play, so when they get bad, I just don't buy games that whole year. Very similar thing happens to me. Or I like search the fucking store library for some older games or some indie games. I've been almost like just playing indie games. Right now I'm playing The Long Dark. I might get back to playing online with the new Battlefield game. That shit looks lit. I haven't played the beta though, but everybody I talked about says that it's lit. And I'm going to low-key show you guys how fucking good I am. Because motherfuckers, I'm a fucking unk whose teeth were cut on Modern Warfare 1, motherfuckers, and on Bad Company 2. I'm not as unk as some unks in here that got their teeth cut on fucking Battlefield 1. You guys are fucking hikey sick. Massive respect. But fridge will dox you though? I'll be careful. I'll take out all the stuff. You're confident enough to do an actual cooking video? No, I will never do a cooking video. I'm a misogynist patriarch that has a woman that does that. And I have Hakeem. I can do a cocktails stream. I can do make burek. Burek is bought. You do not make burek. Burek is like sushi. You fucking buy that shit. I could make you some barbecue. No, the goal that maybe we will achieve in the year of 2037 of 5,000 subs was me going into the forest and being crazy hamburger and making crazy hamburger with people. That I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna paint my face into a Joker, indirectly basically doing a face reveal because you'll be able how do I paint a Joker face on a fucking mask? Have you watched the new Tiggy video yet? No, we have a lot of them to watch. Maybe next hype train we can watch Tiggy. 10,000 subscribers and mods get flown out to Balkan bunkers. 10,000 subs, I will literally, for the fucking joke of it, buy an Albanian bunker. Get us an Albanian friend of mine to drive us through Albania in a fucking Mercedes, because only Mercedes exists in Albania, and take us to a bunker, and we stream from the bunker. 10,000 subs, I will unironically find a bunker for sale and buy it. Immediately. I will be the ISO speed of post-socialist experiments. Especially the bad ones like Albania. What about the G standy? That was the goal last time. It didn't happen. I can't spoil you guys. If the goal isn't hit, I can't actually do it. But I will stream from China, maybe, if it's possible with the VPNs and if it makes sense for me.
Flood the
in October. Hassan has 20k subs. It's possible. That's like saying, I don't know, fucking, you can, what's the word? Cristiano Ronaldo has a $250 million contract to a guy that plays football in the fucking Balkans. And doesn't Hassan have like, yeah, Hassan has like 80,000 or some shit. Bro, I was thinking Ronaldo too, yeah. Swear he was one injury away. Hassan has a crazy amount of subs. It's good for him, God bless. Found links to the program subreddit in leaked RCI documents. What the hell? What do you mean by leaked RCI documents, Bjart? No, not followers, subscribers. I don't know. Let's see. How can I even see? I don't care. Who cares? I don't look at other people's wallets. Anyways, let's continue. We're down to 1,381. Damn, that feels really good.
Market that are like this, the prices are going to just keep climbing to be able to justify their operating budgets. And the higher the climb, the less players are going to be willing to buy in, especially given economic conditions. So publishers are just going to start responding by making those purchases more central to the experience. Free cosmetics are going to be deliberately made to look worse than paid ones. We already see that right now. Progression.
Exactly. Profit motive, blat. Like, what don't you get about this whole thing?
Is going to start to get locked behind paywalls. Items are going to come in with built-in advantages. Bit by bit, the games are going to be not about playing.
You're going to link up with a son in China. I have no idea when he's going to go. And I don't want to be weird and hit him up and say, oh, when are you going to go to this country? I don't know. If you guys find out when, spam his chat that he should link up with me. I would love that. I would love to grab a beer. And even stream it. Why the fuck not? He's a G. Love to meet.
Playing them anymore. It's just going to be about spending, and eventually people are just going to start walking away. I've always looked at Korean pay-to-win live service games as a microcosm, a accelerated version of where the Western AAA industry is headed. And if you take a look at a game like Lost Ark, great gameplay, the world looked really cool, and it had all the markings for a top-tier MMO, but almost every path to progression was time-gated or paywalled, or in most cases both. And while whales are going to spend big, you still need casual players to be able to keep that world feeling alive. When every single meaningful reward in a game is locked behind a price tag, no achievement is going to feel worth anything. The game just isn't fun, and eventually
yeah, but eventually if you do it long enough, that's going to become the new normal. And then it's going to be, I don't know, 90% paid to win, but then 10% skill to win, and that's just going to be the new normal. Class society will be offloaded into the digital sphere, and the flex of owning something that is paid for will eventually be seen as more valuable than you having proved to have earned it. The direct parallels of physical reality under the market economy are going to translate themselves over in video games. This guy is just viewing it from the boomer subjectivity of modern times. Like if for people that don't understand me, maybe you have never walked in those types of circles. When somebody comes with a fucking yacht, nobody gives a shit if it's his daddy's yacht or not. He's a guy with a yacht. Okay? Maybe some people are going to be like, it's his daddy's yacht, blah, blah, blah. He's still a guy with a fucking yacht. In modern, ideologized, capitalist mentality, not capitalist mentality, but mentality that exists in capitalism, that's already a big enough flex. Okay? So the same thing is going to translate over into video games eventually. You just owning something will be a flex in and of itself. It is going to be a competition of who is richer, but in a digital sphere. Now it's a competition of skill, but as money literally starts being valued more and more by publishing companies, by game creators and so on, the culture is going to change. So yeah, people will respect the guy with the most expensive skin just because it is the most expensive. And skill and shit that you put on your main character because you earned it with skill are going to matter less and less, the same way they matter less and less today. Who gets more of a, oh my God, look at that fucking guy. That guy's a fucking G. A fucking doctor that spends every day of his life trying to save people's lives, or a guy that just parked outside in a brand new Maserati? Who? Everybody knows that the doctor works a lot harder, that his skill set is far more advanced than the other guy who's just born with dad with money or mom with money that got him the Maserati. Everybody's going to aspire to the Maserati guy, and everybody's going to try and be friends with the Maserati guy, right? So the Maserati guy, when it comes to, the perception of his little community or the general world community, is going to be seen as a more valuable individual. Well, this is the same thing that's going to happen inside of games. Guys flexing with whatever the Maserati version is, like a 50,000 euro skin. I'm talking in 20 years or 30 years, not today, are going to be perceived as the biggest G's in games. And just like in real life, skill is going to matter a lot less and less, and how much money you have is going to matter a lot more and more. And then games are going to work off of that even more intensely, where they quite literally give you certain societal privileges inside of the digital sphere because you have more IRL money, and so on. The class contradiction reapplies itself to every piece of fiction that you might read, watch, or play. It just hasn't gotten to games yet. I like to consider this particular analysis a little bit original. I haven't read it anywhere. This is from here. Because I mentioned September to October for China. I'm going like 10th of October or something. 12th, I don't remember. Yeah, I'll hit him up. I'll ask him. If he replies, he replies. If not. I'm not going to demean myself, but even though I'm a big fan. You don't see marine biologists on TV every day. Very good point, Jokula. I mean, this is already happening if you think about how much money is spent on marketing for microtransactions in games like League, CSGO, and so on. Absolutely. To an extent, it's already happening. Maybe I'm too autistic for this, but who gives a fuck? Legitimately who? Well, people whose very big part of people whose very large part of their identity is being skilled at gaming. Those very people are going to end up realizing at a very young age the contradictions of capitalist hierarchy. What makes you cool and what doesn't. To an extent, one could say like that games were the only place we could escape where, to a lesser or greater extent, depending on the game, meritocracy still existed. Well, capital is coming even for this fictitious, digital, pixelated idea of meritocracy. Because meritocracy does not matter. Big eats small matters. And what made you big in games versus what made you big in IRL was, to a very large extent, skill-based. How much time, effort, and skill you put into that motherfucker. Hell, you couldn't inherit shit. New game comes out, you start from the beginning. An allegory to generational wealth. Maybe you get a little bit, which is fair. If your parents really did a lot, or if you really played in a previous game, a little bit, but you don't inherit the whole thing. Hell, MMO servers would fucking set every 3 months or every 6 months or every year. A true attempt at meritocracy. Hell, so many video games unironically try to simulate capitalist economies, and they would always just fall into hyper-violent fascist genocidal fervor. But capital is coming for that little bit of leftover meritocracy that we've had kind of saved for us as a coping mechanism in gaming.
Most players are going to hit the same wall and just say, why am I even playing this game? Now, on the subscription side, the only way to be able to make that offer appealing is to run it at a loss and front load it with as much content as possible. We already know that Xbox tried this with Game Pass, spending billions on AA and indie titles, but all it did was create the illusion of content. Many of those games were just filler that nobody actually wanted to play. Sure, there were a couple of hits, but not enough to be able to justify the service, at least not for myself. And that means that they have to lean on their AAA blockbusters to be able to keep people subscribed, which in turn then cuts directly into their sales. And now even Game Pass is facing a content problem. Developers are openly saying that if your game is struggling, Game Pass is the place where you want to go. But if your game has a real sales potential, well, you want to keep it off that platform. Either way, content issues are not the bigger problem that they're headed towards. Is the undeniable fact that the prices for their services are going to continue to climb and likely outpace their customers, especially for some of these younger generations. They've already gone up and their operating costs are continuing to rise, so they're going to go up again.
Jesus, this guy talks like he's at 1.25 speed. I wondered if it's 1.25, but it's not. It's fucking crazy.
Their only alternative is to be new ways to monetize, just like their movie and TV counterparts, Netflix, Hulu, Disney. We'll see ads, tiered access, and more. They're going to pass those increases down to the customer. But the problem with that is that people will tolerate price hikes and ads and things like that if there is value there. When the quality starts to slip at the same time that the bill is getting bigger, that's when subscribers start to walk. It doesn't matter how large the library is. If people feel like they're paying more for less, they're gone. It's like I said earlier, the only option that they have is to offer actual value, better games, while also slashing their budgets and their prices. But a lot of these companies think that AI...
That is literally impossible. They are not... What would make them do that? What would make them do that? Nothing would make them do that.
Is going to be the magical fix for everything, but all that's going to do is just make the underlying problem even worse. People don't have jobs or disposable income to be able to buy the games or products that they're making. So what's going to happen? They're just going to overcommit like they always do, just like they did with live service, just like they did with subscriptions, just like they did with every single trend that we've seen over the past couple of years. The quality will slide. The audience is going to start looking elsewhere. And honestly, they already have. One of the biggest breakout trends that I've noticed over the past couple of years is the rise of indie friend slop games. Accessible, easy to play co-op titles that are made on no budget at all, that are pulling absolutely absurd numbers. Lethal Company, Content Warning, Chained Together, and more recently Repo and Peak have blown up purely through word of mouth and viral clips, hitting sales and player numbers that would make most AAA games cry. Peak sold over 5 million copies in under a month and hit 100,000 concurrent players on Steam. Repo sold 15 million copies in under 6 months and
people just want to have fun, like literally.
Nearly reached 300,000 concurrent players on Steam. They all share two things: cooperative play and, more importantly, price. Peak was launched at $7.99. Repo was launched at $10. Both games cost less than a fast food meal and are cheap enough that you could buy copies for 3 of your friends and still pay less than a modern AAA title. And it's not just friend slop. Across the board, some of the most popular games dominating both sales and conversations have been from small studios or even solo developers. The common thread isn't the genre, it's the price and the quality of the experience. I said it on Twitter recently when people were complaining.
And the definition of what quality means.
About how Mafia Old Country doesn't have swimming, but I said that too many games go wide in.
Well, this cozy gaming was always rubbing me the wrong way, but it feeds into everything you're saying as well, like them recognizing the need for games and focusing on trying to create the next big quote-unquote comfort game. Yeah, like that's the fucking, if I'm understanding you correctly, but that's the fucked up part. Like large corporations are going to see the success of these two games, for example, and then they're going to create 7,000 milk toast vanilla variations of this type of game, which is going to render the perspective of that people have towards this type of game as one of mass consumption and therefore bad, which is then going to make them jump to whatever new thing some ingenious, really good writer or creative team has developed in order to standardize it for wider consumption, which they will not be able to standardize in the same way that the original passion project had, which will then render it vanilla and mass consumption vibes, which will then render the whole genre mute, which will then lead them to another category and another category and another category that because of the profit motive, they will make less and less and less and less and less and less important. Snake eating its own ass, literally.
instead of
Not
deep.
less and less popular. Yeah.
I don't need a game to do everything. I need a game to do a handful of things really fucking well. That's exactly what these indie titles are delivering right now. They don't have year-long roadmaps. They're not trying to be everything for everyone. They're built for the people that they were meant for with the sole intent of just being fun. Peak is a game about climbing and cooperative fun with your friends. It doesn't need complex mechanics or RTX ray trace shadows and reflections. It just needs to be a goofy, memorable experience that delivers on an $8
Explain that to a suited up fucking executive, though.
promise. And
plot twist, you cannot.
yeah, people like to complain about how many roguelikes and crafting games that we've seen lately, but
also try and make a corporate development team and a corporate writer think up ideas like this. They can't. That's the meme about the market economy and the profit motive stimulating more and more creative ideas and better products. No, it does the opposite. When somebody's doing something because it's a fucking project and they're doing it from paycheck to paycheck, obviously they're not going to do it the same way as a small team of hyper-dedicated artists that really want to make something that fucking rocks that they can put their name on. There is no space in which any of this happens.
A lot of those games have succeeded for the exact same reason. They give players exactly what they want from that style of game.
Tell me if I'm right, chat. Tell me if I'm right. I don't know.
Sure, they'll add their own twist or their own style or maybe their own art or their own world.
Depends on the game genre and type, though. Hotline Miami went off, but no other indie or even big-budget top-down shooter came close to having the success it had. But that's what I mean. That's exactly what I'm saying, bro. It's exactly what I'm saying. That a small fucking base team of developers and writers was like, we're going to make a passion project. The passion project worked really well. And then 700 other fucking large corporations tried to copy that type of, top-down shooter. And it never came close. That's exactly what I mean. When it gets corporatized, when it becomes for-profit motive, it becomes fucking shit.
Or whatever, but they never overreach, especially for the price.
But that doesn't stop the market from saying, quote-unquote capitalists from saying that, look at how many fucking great things we have. Even though half of the shit that's in the fucking iPhone was either produced for the military or for public, through public scientific funding, right? Or half of the fucking games that they are pointing at and saying, look at how good capitalism is, look at how good the games are, was made by studios that fucking literally went fucking broke the next fucking day. Look at what happened to the people that made the Disco Elysium. And so on and so on and so on in every single industry. It is the incredible creative drive of individuals, groups, and communities. It creates incredible stuff, which then gets fucking co-opted by corporate soulless structures and sold as their own creation. It's coders and artists that make good games, not corporations. And you're a coder, aren't you? You're some IT guy. Now masturbate to it and give me subscriptions. All IT people in chat, give me your money. I am literally like unionizing you right now. I am making arguments for why you should continue to exist. Give me your money right now. Give me your money right now. Subscribe to the capitalist relationship that we're building here inside of a socialist space. There you go. Jocula knows his place. Good job, Jocula. Very good. I rate Lump also knows his place. Come on, coders, programmers. Put your big coder money where your mouth is. Pizza Famine also. Good boy. Good girl. Good MB. All three of you. You deserve a little tap on the back. Cynical Chris. Fucking code that money into my wallet. Very good. Did I say stop?
Wonderful. A new child
Do I look like I said stop? Do
subscriber.
I look like I said stop? I haven't said stop. More purple. IT money in my pocket right now. And I'm going to unionize all you fuckers. Cynical Chris even more.
Wonderful.
I see you have a fetish
soldier,
maybe.
Subscriber.
I see you might have a fetish there. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful. I love you. But more. Typical relationship. Thank you very much. I'm grateful, but more. We should institute IT person tax. IT people tax.
Wonderful. A new child soldier.
Every IT person, every stream has to give subs to other chatters. Simply for being coders, okay? It is a what do you even call it? It's a money funneling mechanism from the labor aristocracy inside of chat over to the plebeians.
Wonderful.
I'm having computer problems. Obviously, you're an IT. 100 bits. You're in IT and you give me 100 bits. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's like a billionaire giving a cent to a local beggar man. Bede Panada trademark. Who the fuck is that? Bede Panada thinks that all fucking IT people should be shot, probably. And if they're white, they should be skinned and hanged upside down. And if they're American on all of those categories, Bede Panada probably thinks you should have a night out with their mother. I simply tell you to gift subs. I'm much nicer than Bed Empanada. Do not fucking confuse me with that motherfucker, okay? IT coders sit here all day and answer old people's PDF questions. I hope you actually mean PDF, not pedophile. Bede Panada is the Pol Pot of nowadays then. Bede Panada has been the Pol Pot of everything for a very long time.
Games are cheap, focused, they deliver exactly what players are looking for.
Bede Panada wakes up as Stalin, then after when he is no longer hangy, he eats some good food, some good Argentinian food. He locks in on his Greek good vibes. He becomes very chill, very principled Lenin. And then as the night progresses and after he finishes work, he gets hangy again. He switches full Pol Pot mode, opens Twitter, posts some fucking shit that is basically like 90% of the posts are, who is this man? I want to sue him. Everybody on Twitter, tell me the real identity of this poster. I will sue them for calling me a child predator. And that is basically him going to the gym. He gets the bad energy out of him, turns into a Thomas Sankara, probably hangs out with like 17 beautiful women, okay? They make him some food. He enjoys it. And then he vibes fully out as older Mao Zedong sits down, reads some theory, okay, smokes a pipe, and goes to bed. That is the 12-hour shift of the based empanada, okay? So you need to be very careful when you interact with the empanada, what kind of empanada you hit. The empanada is like, what was that fucking movie with all the, like, Mr. Glass? Other movie. The fucking, is it Unbreakable? Split? Split, is it Split? Okay. He is split but based, okay? He is split but based. This movie. This is Bede Panada but based. This is Bede Panada with no hair. He needs to stop Osama maxing, okay? Grow bald, Empanada. I know you're watching this, Empanada, by the way. I know you're getting off on it. I love you too, bro. I love you too. No, they're all the same movie, technically. Dr. Empanada and Mr. Bad. Sounds like the most sane communist ever. Sounds like the most typical communist ever, right? He gets stuck while spitting. Does he become spit? Mr. Glass, Unbreakable, and Split are all in the same universe. I know, my love. That's why I made the allegory there. Anyways, add in a minute. IT people, gift subs right the fuck now. We are under 1.5k subs. I am utilizing all my grift technologies, okay? For 20 gift subs, I will not finish this glass of water. For 20 gift subs, I will not finish this glass of water.
I'd say the same about the AAA industry. With the path that they're on right now, I'm not sure that we ever will again. And that's the real problem for AAA, because they built their entire business model around chasing an audience that's already shrinking and pricing themselves out of the next one that's coming. And they're ignoring the part of the market that's actually growing right now while they're busy inflating their budgets, leaning on AI and locking themselves into
because that's how you actually make the most profit, bro.
decade-long development.
Okay, we have milked this person as much as we can. Jacob Geller, really try hard as fuck, but I fuck with it. It's good. Thank you, 999. Thank you very much. Not enough for me to drink the water, but thank you very much. Is there a clanker name for IT people? What would be a slur for IT people? Codeoids? That's difficult to say. Does this work? Codeoids. It's difficult to write. It's difficult to say. Slurs need to flow off one's tongue. This is still on the topic of gaming, by the way. How well can you really know a game? It's from a day ago. He's probably asking the very sophisticated question of what a game is. Okay, let's learn what a game is. It's probably going to be very deep, and we're going to think about stuff. Script kiddies, yeah, that doesn't sound computers, difficult. Typers. I teach car in Slovak. Yeah, that works. I teach car, yeah. I tita, brate. I tita. Scriptoids. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a fucking winner. Scriptoids. Scriptoids. We're calling you scriptoids. You just reuse slurs for Asian people? What fucking slur for Asian people is has an oid in it? My boss calls hackers script monkeys. That's kind of like just like an internal industry joke. Scriptoids is like people out of the industry calling you guys that. Scriptoids. Subscribe Scriptoids right now. Gift subs so other people don't have to watch, okay? Scriptoids. Pay the riot tax, Scriptoids. Prove that we shouldn't commit the first digital pogrom, okay? Everything goes back to the Scriptoids. The Scriptoids at night, they script away chat's children. I'm doing allegories to anti-Semitism. Pay the Scriptoid zakat. What was the word? Dushmani. No, what the fucking... Plati, pojma nemam šta. Scriptoid. I mix script and cryptoids together. That's the meaning. It's fucking great. Scriptoids. The first slur after obviously clanker that's allowed in chat.
In the year 2005, I didn't get lost in a Target. But my mom kind of thought I did. See, she would...
How do you remember that? That is so fucking weird.
Often bring me...
Jesus fucking Christ. How the fuck do you remember that? Is he about to call it traumatic?
...along to Target when I was a kid. While she shopped, she would let me go off to where I always spent time, the video game section. I would go and look at the games and play the little demos they had there, the Nintendo DS chained to the wall, the Xbox controllers way down here for the TV.
Pro tip for people that talk about stuff pro tip for when somebody says that something was traumatic, but your brain immediately goes, that just sounds like a regular experience. You know how you figure out whether it was actually traumatic or not? If you heard them talk about it in front of you in an incredibly casual manner while you're having Coca-Cola and a McDonald's, it probably wasn't, okay? So the combination of you going like, I had that same experience and probably hundreds of millions of other human beings have as well. And you're saying it in a very casual setting, you know, not during a very emotional interhuman kind of like vibe fest. You just got lost in a Target. You know what I mean? You know. Yes, I'm doing trauma denial because it's funny. That's why. I was feeling like shit, but then I realized how good I have it. I got a haircut. Went in extra to work. I'm drinking mead and rolling a fat one, all whilst my cat doesn't give a shit about the water fountain I got him. Now that, Sheila, sounds like a great non-scriptoid day that you must have had. Okay. That is true, but I also have friends that just randomly trauma dump when we're all just chill and sober. That's where the other filter is for. That's what the other filter is for. The other filter is the first, there needs to be 2 red flags. First red flag is you going, that sounds like a normal human experience to me. Okay, that's the first one. And then the second one is the setting, right? So if they're trauma dumping and the setting is normal, but your first filter doesn't go off, that means it's most likely actually something that's deeply, deeply weighing them down, and they're not playing the whole game of measuring trauma dicks. Okay?
There, and I didn't leave the video game section, but Here, I'm gonna draw you a diagram. See, this big box is the store, and here are the shelves with the games and the demos, and I was in that section, but I wasn't looking at the shelves or the demos. I was sitting here, the end of the row. So when my mom came through and looked down the aisles, she didn't see me. Apparently,
they would always leave me in the only tech store in the mall. I'm a person from a very small, very poor town, and we were a relatively decently close drive away from a big city. There was, a long drive, but still we could go at least once a month during the weekend. And there was the first time I actually saw a flat screen TV in my life, and where I saw an actual fucking PlayStation with 3 games you get to pick, kind of set up. There was 3 always set up, and like a lot of kids waiting to play them. In places where you could buy the console, right? I would just spend like 2 hours there. I would just completely zone out all the other kids telling me to get the fuck off because it's their turn, because fuck them kids, okay? Fuck them big city kids. I rode in here on my donkey. I'm playing my fucking console. That was so much fun. And then finally got a console, which blew my fucking mind.
she looked through the whole store, the toy aisle and the book aisle and probably even the clothes.
Is it trauma dumping when you talk about like a joke but other people get scared instead of laughing? That you probably have a trauma. Yeah, I am a licensed therapist. Behind this mask is literal Freud. If you talk about your traumas in a hyper-ironic manner, probably a trauma.
And the food as she got increasingly panicked, and eventually I looked up.
Am I making all of this up as I go, and is it exceptionally problematic? Yes. Is it very fun while being very problematic? Yes. Is it fun because it is problematic? Yes. That's the point of people talking and being semi-edgy for the fucking thrill of it. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk.
Because I heard my name called over the store loudspeaker, and I got up from the end of the aisle and walked.
Him remembering this makes his life exceptionally boring. I'm sorry. I like you. I like what you make. You actually remembering that one time you got lost in the store when you were a kid and putting it in the script of your video is unhinged.
Towards the checkout.
It's absolutely like wild.
And there my mom was, and she said,
out of all the stories in your life, this is the one. Oh, but because it's relevant to the script, let's see how relevant it is to the fucking gaming script.
It's been 40 minutes. Where were you? What?
He remembers the quote. Oh my fucking God. This must be something that they talk about every Christmas where he got lost in the fucking store. Sorry.
What were you doing? And I told her the truth. I had been reading the Prima official game guide for Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the game. I wasn't allowed to have a video game console until pretty late in my childhood. We would get
trauma.
A Nintendo.
Guys, trauma, yes or no?
We as a sort of collective family.
What did you want to mention? The truth where he accidentally puked over the Xbox 360? What? The worst part of using humor as a coping mechanism is revealing to people that you do that, and they, instead of laughing, now they get sad at your jokes. That fucking sucks. That fucking... I get you completely. That fucking sucks. It absolutely fucking sucks.
Hanukkah present.
But you need to get, like, I don't know, bigger cunts of friends, I guess. There is a deep wisdom in cuntiness when it comes to, for example, trauma dumping through jokes. Because the only people that will continue laughing and still treating you like a normal member of society throughout the whole interaction are people that are probably as traumatized as you. I hope you get what I mean. Like somebody's like, oh, I've been stabbed. You tell 5 people, dude, I walked and dude, you can't believe it. I slipped on a fucking banana and followed my ass, and a fucking 7-inch knife went through my fucking ass, and I almost bled to death. You're telling this to 5 people. 4 immediately go like, holy fucking shit, what the... Sure, it's funny, bro, but like, are you okay? Is that why you're so uncomfortable every time you're sit? Like, holy shit. While one guy goes like, you know, the guy going, very large chance, motherfucker was stabbed at some point. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. Like very often people don't immediately jump to like, oh, make sure that you're okay, etc., because they went through the same shit. And they know that it's very often incredibly fucking dehumanizing to be, you know, completely treated exclusively as just the survivor of a particular trauma and not as a survivor of a particular trauma that is still a member of society, and they can sometimes fuck around while talking about the particular negative experience that they went through, right? Comedy is dead. You can't even joke about terrible things that happen to you. They will take that away from you, right? And they will somehow turn it into, you know, them being really good people and them really trying to care for you. No, man, I want to laugh about the fucked up thing that happened to me. And then, you know what's encouraged? You tell me about a fucked up thing that happened to you. And then you don't have to have a fucking entire society of fucking therapy goers. I think someone once told me that they accidentally stabbed themselves, and I asked, did you die? But did you die? But did you die? Oh. My woman is crazy when guys like with very serious concerns come to her and, you know, trauma dump like a very bad breakup or a very bad experience with the opposite sex of trying to, I'm talking about straight dudes here, of trying to, you know, get a partner, but for like years they can't. She just like very raw dogs it. She's like, but did you die though? Okay, you're not fucking. Okay, did you die though? Oh, you have not found a partner to share in your everyday. Did you die though? Did you though? Stop fucking complain. Like, that's what I feel like a lot of half of the cultures of you guys in here have as a part of their, you know, the way that you interact with other people, but a lot of the cultures don't. And the irony is the cultures that don't because of very good reasons. Because, I don't know, 10 years ago, everybody was an edgy piece of shit that was running around saying the N-word and calling everybody gay. Right? So then you overcompensated with shit like, oh my God, I can't possibly laugh at this bad thing that happened to this person that they are saying is a joke. No, you absolutely can. You can be very abrupt and direct with your fucking opinion on a particular thing. It's fucking okay. Very often they need to hear that. Fuck it, you only live once. Let's do it.
2006.
Start drinking and open up Euro Truck Simulator 2.0. Let's create some trauma to joke about in the future. But I hope that the more sensitive chatters here like understood what I was trying to say. Your true innate human reaction to something is an okay thing to have. Somebody talking about their trauma
in a humorous way and dropping fucking bars is okay for you to laugh at. You don't immediately have to like spend 15 minutes analyzing whether it's chill or not chill to do so, whether it's problematic or not problematic to do so. You are allowed, even as Marxists, as those in constantly engaging in dialectical materialism, you're allowed to be humans. And if you're called out for a particular bad behavior, for example, you go like, oh shit, really? That made you feel that way? Pfft, fuck, that sucks. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do that again. I thought you were saying a joke. Apparently you weren't. My bad. There you go. It is that simple. That was me when I started becoming a leftist. Leftism is when you can laugh again. Absolutely. Thank you, Gothic Bitchcraft, for fucking oiling me the fuck up. Even though you never laugh, as you said. Thank you for the 5 subbers and funding your alcoholism, King Child Soldier. Thank you for 17 months. Fuck yeah, man. Turn me into a goth. Could I pull off being a goth? I don't think I can pull off being a goth. I'm too much of a fucking. I'm too subsumed by bro culture to be goth. I don't think I can pull it off. You can't laugh at your own trauma. You can only laugh at jokes punching down on the oppressed. This is how to be normal. Exactly. Only laugh at literal evil pretending to be a joke.
Before then,
Ostrogoth. You go think watching 2 years of Gaza genocide has desensitized me so much that I've stopped seeing death as the worst thing that can happen to a human, that I've started seeing it as a joke in some way. That's what life will do to you. Be it watching genocide in Gaza or certain experiences that you might or might not go through in your life. You could do emo. You think I could do emo? Think I could pull off the haircut? You could do emo eyeliner. That would be fun. I think my woman would fucking love to fucking eyeliner the shit out of me. Anyways, let's go back to this person.
I had to satisfy my appetite for gaming from less traditional sources. Online flash games, sleepovers at friends' houses, and writing. Magazines like Game Informer, and strategy guides like the Prima official game guide for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the game. But even after I got a Wii and started gaming...
Get it, guys, get it. He is proving his gamer credentials. That's what he's doing. Jesus, I become a sassy little bitch when I have a few drinks. Holy fuck. And when I see subscription going down, I have a few drinks and I become a sassy little bitch. Holy fuck. Okay. We need Bimbopnik. I'm already a bimbo, my friend. When I first started subscribing to leftist ideology, I was afraid my sense of humor wouldn't jive with my new comrades, but instead get a new sense of humor and killed my old one. You've evolved your sense of humor, okay? You can still be comrades with someone and not like them. And like you can still be a communist. If there's 1,000 communists, probably 500 of them aren't going to like the other 500. And that is fucking normal and fucking okay. There's no group of 1,000 people where everybody likes each other, no matter if they subscribe to the same ideology or not. It's fucking insane, dude.
Proper. I maintained this reverence.
Maybe you're reversing the causation in that correlation. You think so? I think my causation is me being petty and drinking alcohol, and then being a little bit heavy-handed. Point is, even if you don't like each other, you care about what happens to each other. That's beautifully put. That's quite poetic. I fuck with it.
For guides. Because there, in hundreds of full-color pages, was the game. Every level, every move, every jump and boss. If I read the guide closely enough, it was almost like I was playing. Here's a couple sentences from page 6 of the guide for Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the game. In this game, you take on the role of a Jedi and must fight like a Jedi. Unlike other games where you may have a dozen or more weapons you can use to achieve victory, in this game you use a single weapon, the lightsaber. Use this Jedi tool for attacking, defending, and even for cutting through metal to access locked areas. After you learn all of this, you will be ready to fight as a Jedi. This was transportive writing to me as a kid. Now I read it and see the mechanics it's describing. I'll both fight and open doors with my lightsaber. I'll earn XP points, I'll get more moves. But in 2005, I felt it was describing more. The boldness of Revenge of the Sith, the game, it told me, was that you would
Cheers, chat, to the Sith.
truly embody a Jedi. This was a game about mastery of one tool, your lightsaber alone, and the steps to mastery were contained within the very book I was reading. If I memorized this book, I could master the game before I even played it. Almost exactly 20 years later, I booted up Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the game, for the first time, and I found a completely fine licensed hack and slash game. I did, as the guide described, only use my lightsaber. I did see the slightly varied playstyles between Anakin and Obi-Wan. I didn't, unfortunately, find the Prima guide very helpful. It had very little to say on how I should fill up the skill meter, which determines how much XP you get per kill. It had no tips on what I should level up first, if it was better to invest in a force push or saber throws or a jump attack. It, in fact, gave conflicting information with the game itself. The game told me that to perform a saber shunt, I should move away from my opponent while blocking, but the guide told me I should block and move towards my opponent to successfully shunt. When I faced off against the game's first boss, Count Dooku, neither direction was very helpful. I died multiple times.
You can't believe you have an actual stalker emote? I'm gonna use it. Of course I do, bruv. We play off of every fucking Eastern European stereotype we can up in this bitch, because half of them are fucking true. Almost every other ethnicity. Oh, why you stereotype me like this? Slavs like, yeah, that's yeah. That sounds like my cousin Ivan.
And finally turned to my trusted friend, decades-old forum posts. A dude from 2005 suggested I grab Dooku as much as possible. I did this, and I cleared the fight. It was disappointing, I guess. 20 years after losing myself in a target to this guide, I find out that it doesn't.
My god, how fucking boring is this guy's life? Jesus fucking Christ, I almost feel bad. My fucking god, oh lord, oh fucking shit. I actually feel bad, like holy fuck. Holy fuck. 20 years ago, I read a thing in a Target and I got lost, and that's why I really remember it. And then, like, I read it cover to cover. I was obsessed with this thing. Then 20 years later, I was, like, thinking about, like, oh, what even is a game? So I was going to write a script, but then I remembered the trauma from before, so I played that game. And that game was different than how I remember it based on the thing I read when I got lost and when my mom was looking for me. Oh, my fucking God. And then I did a boss fight, but I followed what the thing said, but it didn't work. But then I followed what my friend said and I defeated him, and it was disappointing. What the fuck are video essayists even about anymore? Holy fucking shit. Oh no, God bless this. No, he's a homie. He is fucking sick, but like, Jesus Christ, what in America? Oh my God. Oh Lord. Can't believe YouTubers, man.
Have all the answers or even as much advice as a thread on NeoSeeker. And yet,
and the music in the background. He's talking about Star Wars in a book he read before. I'm sorry.
Was disappointing, I guess. 20 years after losing myself in a target to this guide, I find out that it doesn't have all the answers or even as much advice as a thread on NeoSeeker.
A few streams ago, I found out why people say is the white woman moment. Now I get why like some minorities in the States that have real problems like tune out of like 99% of shit that's made for wider consumption. Genuinely, like, holy fucking shit. Like, it's great to talk about these topics, but to premise them in this incredibly serious manner, it's fucking surreal to my Balkan ass, bro. It's beyond surreal. I'm sorry. No, there you go. This is, for example, culture shock. I'm experiencing unironic culture shock. That's all it is. This is nothing bad towards the creator. God bless. This is just real, very real culture shock. This is like a kid living in Iraq during the war, getting adopted by some fucking people over in Canada and walking into a Whole Foods for the first time. He's like 6. He spent the last 5 years looking at shit. Like he walks into a Whole Foods. He's like, what the fuck? No, the allegory is bad. He walks into the Whole Foods and he sees his adoptive mom argue with the clerk about how she wants this very specific white cheese. And yet they are no longer importing it. Like it's a very real thing. It's a very real struggle for the mom. It is. I'm not undermining that, but just from the Iraqi kid's perspective, it's like, why the fuck do you care? Imagine this guy experienced the shock of playing FIFA with your football fanatic friends at like grade school. Oh, don't tell me. I think I have scars on my fucking head from that. Touch grass moment. Yeah, I feel like it's a touch grass moment. This is a touch grass moment.
And yet, I still like this book. I like its exhaustive descriptions of enemy types. So General Grievous personally oversaw the development of grappler droids? Cool. I like that it breaks down every move for every character for a completely...
There you go. That's a great reason to like it. You really want to get into the lore. That's fucking awesome as shit.
...forgotten multiplayer mode. I like that there are interviews at the back of the guide with producers and stunt coordinators and combat designers for this guide. Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, the game, isn't some middling licensed hack and slash. While reading it, you feel like this is the most important game in the world. This is the
because to the people that made it, it was. Okay, it's getting sophisticated.
Appeal of these big strategy guides, I think. Not just that by reading it you can master a game, but that there could be this much to master. That a game could be complex enough that it could fill hundreds of pages, that it could be a world unto its own. And it's not just Revenge of the Sith. If you're willing to really immerse yourself, any game can do that. One of the first full-length books ever written about video games was 1983's Pilgrim in the Micro-World by David Sudnow. Pilgrim in the Micro-World is a title that evokes Fantastic Voyage or Magic School Bus. You might think it will be about shrinking down to explore blood cells or molecules. Instead, Pilgrim in the Microworld, nearly every single page of it, is about exploring something else. Breakout for the Atari 2600. You might think, fool that you are, that there isn't that much to say about Breakout for the Atari 2600. It's a game where you bounce a ball off a paddle and break bricks. Even the official manual seems to be stretching for 6 pages. But you have never experienced a game like David Sudnow experiences Breakout. At the beginning of the book, Sudnow has almost no knowledge of games or seemingly technology writ large. He's a professor in California and a pianist. In fact, one of his first encounters with gaming is during a performance of his. He and his band are playing at a house party in Berkeley, but keep getting interrupted by adults in the other room who are hooting and hollering while playing Missile Command. Sudnow is annoyed, but he's also intrigued. Soon after, he buys a color television and an Atari. In 1983, 90% of households had a TV, 90% of them in color. Sudnow was a holdout, a veritable caveman. But prompted by the experience at this party, he goes to his local electronics store. The store is frustratingly out of Missile Command, and instead the salesman suggests he tries Breakout. Over the next 100+ pages of Pilgrim in the Microworld, Breakout consumes Sudnow's life. And because he is so new to this whole thing, not just to Breakout, but to games and the very idea of manually controlling an electronic...
This is the version of like, what you call it, people that are marrying AI girlfriends and boyfriends right now.
...device, no sensation.
You should make a video essay like this for April Fool's Day. I should, right? I should make a video about the... the phallic obsession with joystick mushrooms. And I should start it out with a trauma I had with, I don't know, seeing my dad walk out of the shower naked, which is, by the way, not a trauma. It's just what fucking happens because he didn't know I was there. So it was my first time seeing a penis that was not my own. And it turned me obsessed over phallic objects. And I had never then, for years upon years, seen another phallic object because I had no access to the internet and therefore no pornographic material, until one moment when I held a joystick in my hand and I touched the little mushroom, the little, the joystick. And for the second time, I had seen and interacted with, for the first time, with a phallic object, which then threw me back to my original complex, and then inspired me to become a gamer, not because I enjoy the medium of gaming, but because of my relationship to phallic objects. There you go. I made. Can I have 700,000 subscribers now? Do not call it a mushroom. We call it a mushroom in my part of the world. I'm crashing out. Yeah. Don't tell me they call the end of joysticks mushrooms. Yeah, call them mushrooms. They kind of look like mushrooms. I mean, look at them. After that sequence of sentences, I will be going and touching grass now. That's the whole point. Please go, my friend. Maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but obsession over small stuff like games is much more common in countries like America, where access to higher education is much more restricted, meaning people have a smaller chance of encountering a passion they will enjoy as young adults since they have been working full-time since 18. That is, to an extent, correct. Death of masculinity is microcosm. He needs meaning and risk in real life. Maybe. That's a very aggressive thesis.
Is left unexplored. For instance, he's playing with the paddle controller for the Atari 2600, a sort of dial that you can turn left and right to control the thing on screen. I describe that in 16 words. Sudnow is not so casual. Line up your extended finger with the lower left corner of the TV screen a comfortable 6 feet away. Now track back and forth several times in line the bottom border and project a movement of that breadth onto an imagined 1.5-inch diameter spool in your hands. That's how knob and paddle are geared, a natural correspondence of scale between the body's motions, the equipment, and the environs presented in the interface. There's that world space over there, this one over here, and we traverse the wired gap with motions that make us nonetheless feel in a balanced, extending touch with things. These 100 words are not Sudnow's description of using a controller. These are the first 100 of thousands of words describing using a controller. Nothing is taken for granted. No hand position, no twist of the dial, no rhythm or momentum forgotten about. And my God, if you think Sudnow is comprehensive on the controller, wait until you read the dozens of pages about how he should look at the screen, where exactly his eyes should rest. Pilgrim in the Micro World is, if nothing else, a continuous reminder of how much we skip over when we talk about playing a game, how even the most comprehensive guide still neglects to detail the role of our fingers and hands and nervous system, our peripheral vision, our transposition of physical inputs into a digital landscape. And then, Sudnow keeps going, sucked into a hilariously familiar spiral to anyone who's ever been obsessed with a game. He starts complaining that Breakout doesn't play fair, that the game will sharply angle some rebounds no matter how cleanly he hits a brick. He's incensed. All right, veer off to the side. I'll wait it out. Mess with my carefully aimed shot. But if you want forgiveness for being a computer, don't put rocks in the snowballs. This is him chiding the game for cheating. I stored the disturbance like you register a lie on the first.
I mean, low-key, this is fascinating. This is a person's first interaction with a digital competitive space. It's like discovering fire for the first time. But we did not have the privilege of reading a paper written by the first person that has ever interacted with fire. So yeah, he's taking a kind of like a pilgrim in a micro world is a pilgrimage of its own. Jura put it perfectly. This is a beautiful and relatively sophisticated conversation, right? So yeah, let's continue it. It's a nice video. My only reaction was towards, well, let's just say there is a difference between somebody telling you about their passion for car exhausts very passionately, and then telling you their passion about car exhausts very passionately while they take themselves very seriously. Get what I'm saying? There's a very big difference in the vibes. Let's say it that way. In the vibes.
Date and puzzled for a moment over the game's moral integrity. If the programmer could patch up an organizational weakness with a trivial trick like this, where else might there be monkey business? If it was their way to let you feel competent, giving you 3 easy placements and then veering off as if you wouldn't notice it, they were stupid. Anybody could see what was up after a few times at the controls. The tactics didn't speak well for Breakout. What if she lies all the time? But despite his discovery of what we might call game design, he keeps playing. He's determined to pull off a specific sequence, to break all bricks on the side so he can get the ball up on top of the wall and have it bounce around uninterrupted for a while. He tries the sequence over and over and over, resetting the game every time he can't pull it off. He ceases to view Breakout as a game at all. Forget the computer. Breakout was a grid, an object with known fixed properties.
By the way, from what I understand, I think this guy being into classical music is why he's so specific on using a controller. Classical musicians put a lot of detail into finger placements. That is very interesting. Does that translate, because you seem informed on the topic, and I'm not asking in any, I'm not making fun of you, I'm actually genuinely Like I'm serious. But why does that, for example, not apply on a mouse? Because it's still finger placement. I can understand why it doesn't apply on the movement of the mouse, because except for very particular instruments, the actual movement of the hand plays a very small role, you know. Maybe drums, and maybe you're playing the fucking harp and you're moving. So yeah, why joystick over mouse and keyboard? From the perspective of a classical music person.
No more an opponent than my piano, or a layout of city streets, or a hopscotch pattern on the sidewalk. He wants, more than anything, to clear the board with one perfect ball, to not miss a single time. He wonders if he should get a camera to film himself playing to further improve his skills. He is, in the parlance of our times, learning to speedrun. By reading Pilgrim in the Micro World, I realized how...
Neither. I prefer controller. I play on PC. Barry, I am talking about people who love classical music. Not you, my love. Unless you're a classical music person. Which I would be surprised from how much I've stereotyped you, Barry, at this point. I would be surprised if you're a classical music person.
Absurd it is to think that you couldn't write a book entirely about Breakout, that we are so quick to ignore the intricacies of our interactions with machines. Sudnow ignores nothing, and in doing so finds core truths about how we relate to a video game. The central skills of these games, he writes, arise out of lucratively programmed caring. It's not that you have to care in order to get good, but rather that you have to be kept caring. A goal remains alive by always moving just ahead, out of reach. Because this, writing essays and making videos, is my job, there's a limited time I can allow myself to keep setting goals within a particular game before I have to move on. Years ago, I talked about the infinite appeal of Sekiro's parry, of being able to see what perfection would look like, even if it remained forever beyond my grasp. Sekiro is an interesting example, though, because there's so much of the game that I ignore in pursuit of that one goal. I almost never use the prosthetic tools, for example. I don't care about most of the character's side quests. I don't explore the levels anymore. I simply sprint through them to get to the next boss. I decided which parts of the game are important to me and
material conditions influencing how you play a video game. That's fucking crazy. Because his material conditions increase if he makes a video about very niche video game stuff. Okay, so he makes more money the more niche the video he makes more money the more niche the video about a particular way of experiencing a video game is, which then motivates him to play the video game in a particular way. We got dialectics in video game playstyles in the age of our Lord 2025.
Selected the rest. If I had to make a case for really knowing a game, I don't think I'd pick Sekiro. I think I'd pick the Game Baker's 2016 title, Fury. Fury isn't one of the games I've spent the most total hours on. I discussed those in a Nebula video a few months ago. It's not the game I've replayed the most either, though I have truly lost count of how many times I've replayed it. But Fury is the game that I feel I've scraped every crumb from most thoroughly, internalized every piece. Here's how the game works. Fury is a boss rush. The game is exclusively 10 bosses with slow linear walks between them. Each boss has multiple phases, never fewer than 4, often as many as 6. Each phase of each fight is different and hard, and you will die to almost all of them on your first try. But this is actually built into the structure of the game.
This is how all learning works. Games are the perfect systems of learning for very niche skills. The most effective learning progress always comes at the sweet spot of the level of difficulty, where you are able to succeed frequently, but not always, pushing the limits without breaking yourself on them. Beautifully put. Very, very beautifully put. Never played Fury. It looks fun.
The player have 3 life bars, and when one of those life bars is depleted, you only start that phase of the boss over, not the whole fight. If you lose all your life bars, then yes, it's game over, but beating a phase of the boss actually earns you back 1 life bar, meaning you'll always get to try out a phase at least twice before going back to the beginning. This is all there is. No upgrades or skill trees, no items to forget to use, no side quests to ignore, just repeated practice folded into a fight over and over. Once you beat the game, you unlock the Furier difficulty, which can feel insurmountable, but really just teaches you that you can get so much better at the game than you even thought. I've been playing Fury since it came out. Not continuously, but I probably return to it at least once a year. The combat rhythms are a part of me now. I often don't even have to think before knowing how to counter a string of attacks. Also, in between revisits to the game, I listen to its soundtrack while working out. I know the sound of Fury in my bones. Are there people better than me at this game? Of course. At least 798 of them. There is still a goal in front of me, always more to be known, but it feels great to have this thing, this little
Will you be playing Metal Gear Solid 3? Maybe, my friend. I don't know. Maybe. Thinking about it. I can't kill Soviets. It fucks me in the head. I know this is a very fucking childish gripe. It's a bunch of pixels. But that's why I didn't play a lot of the more recent Metal Gear Solid games. I would play for like 10 hours. I'm like, dude, even though I know what you're going to say, oh, you don't have to kill anyone, you can do a pacifist run. But I'm too ideologically coded, I guess. Also, want to make something clear. Playing is learning. They are the same activity. Learning, if done designed properly, is the most fun and engaging thing in the world. Yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Toasty, about maybe the biggest potential gripe that one might have with learning through gaming is that, at least at its current iteration, gaming is almost completely meritocratic. So if you are, to an extent, learning about how the world works through a extremely meritocratic system of, who's very good at the game, defeats the game, wins the game, or in a multiplayer is going to outrank or outplay those around him because he, she, or they put in more hours, learned the caveats, became true pros. What I'm asking basically is it potentially an issue that especially young adults learning about what it is to succeed through a very meritocratic system and then going and applying those things that they learned from a very meritocratic digital system, in this case, in the real world, is it going to an extent, like, fuck with them because the real world is very different? Because obviously not because of human nature or any of those all fucking dumbass fucking terminologies, but because of the different systems that we have found ourselves in throughout history and find ourselves in right now. At least in my experience, I've seen a lot of people that have, been raised on games, same as me, right? Going out into IRL and not seeing that replicate, which very often breaks their beautiful, innocent little souls. And it is very unfortunate to see. Learn to be a grifter, not to grift, but otherwise you will have your entire life stolen. I agree. Watch my fucking video on... I should make a part 2 of that as well. The fuck is this? Jesus Christ. What was the video? To kind of balance out between the two, in my modest opinion, you should watch this. Jesus, I made that 4 years ago. That's fucking insane. Socialist Guide to Surviving in Capitalism. Doing well is not treason. Which reminds me to remind you to make me do well and subscribe. We never watched this on stream. Should we watch this now? Should I watch this and see how well it aged? Because I am tired of talking about games. I thought that was a good idea, but maybe.
We will all go together when we go. What a comforting fact that is to know. Universal bereavement.